Just meeting, this is a call to order for the Heritage Advisory Committee meeting. We are just waiting for another member to arrive. We'll be starting shortly, hopefully within 10 minutes. Okay, thank you for your patience. We'll resume the meeting now. Just wondering if there are any disclosures of pecuniary interest. I think no. Can I get an approval of the agenda, please? Any changes required? Yes, George?
Yep. No, just approve the agenda.
Okay, all in favor? Or,
Yeah, second.
there was a seconder?
I will second that.
Thank you. Oh, new business at the bottom, okay. Next, oh, all in favor, please? Thank you, approved. Now, the approval of the previous meetings, is there, oh, no, we just did that. Oh, no, sorry. Approval of the previous meetings, are there any errors or omissions from the previous meetings? Not sure if you have a chance to read it. If not, can I get a mover, please, to approve the minutes of the previous meeting? Okay,
Just to keep it fair, I'll move
Okay,
to
thank
approve
you.
that one.
thank you, Kate. And a seconder?
Shall I second?
Thank you, George. All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Oh, conflicts. Okay, and then the so is there any public comments? Is there anybody online? I would see them here, right? Yeah, okay, so I guess there's not, so move on to the next item. No delegations or presentations. Do we have any correspondence?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We do have some correspondence that we received from the Ministry of Citizenship and Multiculturalism, Minister Graham McGregor. Basically, the letter talks about the deadline for designating those properties that some municipalities may have listed on their municipal heritage registries, and that there will be no extension to the January 1st, 2027 deadline for putting those as designated, getting them through the process and designating them. We at Quinte West are lucky and we do not have any on our listed list, so really it doesn't impact us too much at this point.
Okay, thank you for that. Any questions from the members regarding that? No? Next item is number 8, staff reports and other decisions. And Davina, sorry. We'd like to, we don't need to read the letter, but we're going to review the letter, the courtesy letter to be sent to the property owners. And then any member of the committee, do you have any questions on the letter itself? And I think it's attached at the end of the. I saw your comment about having the response letter essentially being a separate document, so I think that's a good idea. If we do that, should that second letter be, I don't want to say pre-addressed, but it would have the owner's name and contact information on it so that we would know. In other words, it's not an anonymous letter. So each letter that went out with the canvassing letter would have the owner's information on it already, correct? And then we had, anybody want to ask any questions about how the letter gets returned to us? We were talking about prior about whether it would be emailed or mailed back. Any ideas there? Any discussions about that? First from the committee members. Yeah, go ahead.
I believe we did express concerns about how we as a committee are to be informed when the letters return, and whether it would make sense to have the responses be online or through like an email that gets monitored internally or by someone on the committee, right?
Right. George, any comments?
As a former postal worker, I suggest that the package includes some sort of return envelope, I much prefer to see something in paper. We can't count on email, though I'm sure 100% of the people in Quinte West use email. It is something that I much prefer, as I say, to see something, a hard copy of something.
Okay. I was concerned, thank you for that, I was concerned that maybe the newer generations may not know what a post office is on a letter
Find one.
and a stamp. So I was wondering whether, is it something we need to decide, or is staff going to decide the question, I guess, on how best to respond?
Through you, Mr. Chair, this would be something the committee decides. We are also open to doing multiple ways of people submitting that letter. So it could be a drop off. We could also have them send it to our planning email. It really depends on what you believe is most accessible or what you prefer.
Yes, go ahead, Kate.
I think, accessibility is important, and so having multiple options is a good idea. There are people who are not comfortable using internet platforms, and there are people who are more comfortable using internet platforms.
Okay. Would the staff object to including a letter with a self-addressed stamped envelope back to the community? Would that be wasteful because of the stamp cost? Or do we have the respondent pay for the stamp?
Just, you can use business reply envelopes, in which case we wouldn't be paying anything unless it was actually returned in the system.
Okay, good to go. Thank you, George. Good to know that. Staff?
Through you, Mr. Chair, we would have to check our postal budget for that.
Okay, thank you. Do we need to do a motion to make a recommendation? Yep, okay. So, and I can't make the motion, so George, want to make a motion, or Kate? So, so you would make a motion to suggest ways in which respondents would respond to the letter, to the survey?
I don't have to specify, I just have to move that we're going to suggest.
Yeah, you would make it, sorry, go ahead, Steph.
Through you, Mr. Chair, we would need approval of the draft letter.
First, okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
first, yeah.
All right, so let's do a motion of that. So are we ready to, yeah. Okay, so can I
I will
have,
move to approve the draft letter.
okay, and George?
And I'll second that.
All right, all in favor? All right,
And then now you can do your recommendation.
okay, so Kate, would you like to make a recommendation on the process for receiving responses from the property owners?
Like specifics?
Yeah.
I don't know.
George, you want to take a stab at it?
I'd like,
You gotta,
Oh.
or you turned it off.
oh, I turned it on, you left it on?
There you go. Yep.
Okay. Sorry. I'd like to make a motion that we pursue all means possible for ensuring that the letters that we distribute are returned to us.
Is that a good enough motion? Yeah, okay.
Okay, I will second that motion.
Okay, all in favor? All right, thank you. There was a second item. And the next item for review is the Heritage Easement Agreement. So just a reminder to everyone, the idea is that the committee recommended and council already approved a 40% municipal tax credit on properties on condition that the property owners sign a heritage easement agreement. So we've been provided with a copy of the draft version of that. I think it's the final version, I think, pretty well. We have reviewed it once before. And does anyone have any questions on that draft heritage preservation and maintenance agreement? My first question would be that I think it has to be, I believe the word easement might have to be in there to make it, and maybe it is somewhere. and lawyers should know more than me on this, but generally it's called a heritage easement agreement, just because it is recorded on title. So I'm not sure if that is appropriate. Does anyone have any other questions, or any questions? Basically, the long and short of the agreement is that the property owner will, if they sign this agreement, will be able to apply for a credit to their property taxes at the beginning of the new year. So they would pay their taxes in 2026, and then in 2027 early, they would be able to apply for a credit for 40% of those taxes, and on condition of usually supplying photographs of the building, recent photographs to prove that it's still in good condition. And there are other conditions if necessary, but I don't think it would be applicable. Like the conservation and maintenance agreement plan, I don't think would normally be applicable. So any questions from committee members? Nope. Yep, George. Yeah.
Does this agreement have to be renewed every year? Or how would a homeowner get out of the agreement?
So the agreement is, they can opt out of the agreement by simply not applying for the credit. So that's one way, it's the simplest way. I said earlier that the agreement is registered on title. It may not be the way it's been set up. Because it's a tax credit, and I might correct myself there. A heritage easement agreement, yeah, that was, I'm thinking the one that from Markham, it was a tax credit as well. And the owners signed it, that agreement in particular, and did nothing else afterwards. So they never submitted photographs, they never got, and unfortunately the property fell into disrepair as a result. I'd say I'd have to go back and review this. I don't think it is registered on title. I think, in response to your question, if someone wants to opt out, they simply do not apply for the credit, and the agreement would lapse, essentially, as far as I can tell.
But the house or the property is still designated.
Yes, it doesn't change the designation. This is only for the credit, the municipal tax credit. That's all it applies to. So it's not preserving the building or anything like that. It's a way for the city to, so initially, what we're suggesting is that if one of the advantages of having your property designated is that you can get a heritage credit, a property tax credit through the heritage. This is a new program from the provincial government. It's within about a year and a half old or something like that. So it's a way to encourage property owners to not fight designation, for example, but also in essence use that credit to perhaps help maintain their property, and then by applying for the credit on a yearly basis, which is a formality. It's just a question of doing the paperwork. Essentially, the agreement's still in place. I'm forgetting what I was getting with that point. But it would allow the city to have photographs or continuing record of the property essentially on a yearly basis. And I don't think there's a heritage police. So if we saw something happening that wasn't good, we wouldn't be able to, as a community or the committee or the city, would not be able to say to someone, hey, it looks like your roof is leaking or it looks like your porch is falling down. The city doesn't have the power to make those changes, but they could say, well, you're not going to qualify for the credit because you haven't maintained the building. So it's a way to make sure that owners, property owners, maintain their building in order to receive the credit. But it doesn't change the designation status of the building.
When they're
Oh.
running with the land.
It is running with the land. Okay, so item 10 does say that it will be registered on title.
And it does say
And-
that
Transfer between.
And it transfers to the next owner. Yep. But again, the benefit is that whether it's the current owner or the next owner, they have to apply to the credit for the credit.
it also says that remedies the city may enter the property to carry out required works. This is 7.2, city remedies.
All right.
Or that the property shall be recoverable from the owner in a manner permitted by law.
That is very powerful.
Yeah, enforcing the agreement.
Yeah. Okay, do I have a motion from the members
Mr. Chair.
to? Yes.
So through you, Mr. Chair, I need a motion that reads similar to this, that the Heritage Advisory Committee recommends to council the approval of the Heritage Easement Agreement, or the title on
It's titled.
the agreement says Preservation and Maintenance Agreement, as presented. Because this will have to go then to council for final approval.
I'll give it my best try.
Okay, thank you.
I move to recommend to council the approval of the Heritage Preservation and Maintenance Agreement.
Want a seconder?
Gee, I'll
Want a
second
seconder?
that.
All right, thank you, George. All in favor? All right, thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is to review our list of candidate properties for, I want to say for designation, but it's a list of candidate properties who will be receiving a letter canvassing their concerns, if any, with respect to potentially designating a property. Oops, sorry. So the committee has prepared this list. It includes properties from Trenton, Frankfurt, and Sydney and Murray Ward, and then all the smaller municipality or smaller villages within those municipalities, or former municipalities, I guess. There's 31 pages and 2 properties generally per page. Sometimes there's only 1 page. So there's roughly 60 properties listed here. And I'm just looking for comments from the committee members. Whether you agree with the list, whether you think some should be added or some should be deleted. So again, not a list of candidates for designation, but a list of candidates to receive a letter from the city seeking their opinion with respect to designation.
I reviewed the list prior to the meeting, and I agree with it.
Okay, thank you. George, any comments?
I think that we should pick out low-hanging fruit so that we have a couple of successes, and then we can continue on with 60 or 70 or 100 properties. But I think we should focus on 3 or 4. Let's work on a process. And if that's successful, then we can move on to expanding who gets a letter. I don't think the city would be really interested in us saying, look, here's 60 properties, we've sent them all letters, can you give them a 40% tax break?
No, I think the goal will be that they'll get initially the letters
Well, yeah.
saying, are they interested or not?
Yeah.
To seek out their, if there's a opposition. And let's say that out of the 60, we get 40 responses and half say we'd love it and half say they don't. Unfortunately, even those that say they love it doesn't mean their building will ever get designated because there may not be enough information. So it would help us as a committee to understand from that list, perhaps only concentrate on those properties where the owners do not oppose designation, but then we will have to at some point either do the work ourselves or hire someone to look at the properties to see if they meet at least 2 criteria of the Regulation 906 from the province. And then if they do meet those 2 criteria, then we would have to decide whether we would list them and then designate them. So getting the letters out initially will not result in 60 designations ever, because there's so much more work to be done prior to that. It's simply just gauging the community's desire to have their properties potentially designated. Is that clear, or? Because we will not, as a committee, choose any properties prior to the election. There's not enough time. There has to be research done on each property. So for each property, there would have to be a minimum of a heritage report and then a statement of significance, which would, I don't know if staff is able to prepare those, or if someone will have to be hired to do those.
My only fear is when we start making lists, the possibility, slim, that it becomes one of those lists that 5 years from now, let's throw all the names out. There's my fear.
Right. Okay, so I understand what you're saying, because the
This
minister.
letter that we just, yeah.
Yeah, the minister,
Yeah.
through the, I think it was Bill 23, revised the Ontario Heritage Act to require that properties that were listed either be designated or be removed from the list by, with the extension January 1st,
Yeah.
2027. So I don't know if the government will come back with that kind of regulation in the future. The list that we've prepared is not an official list from either the committee or the municipality. We use the word list, but there's another word that
Inventory.
Yeah, the heritage inventory, exactly, yeah. So we currently have 6 or 8 buildings on the heritage inventory, all designated, none of them listed, and there are none listed. So that would have to be an official process, because it does require that any listed property be published on the city website. So we're not proposing any of that right now. Do you want to make a suggestion on the list, right?
What?
Like to reduce the list, for example, or something? Do you want to?
No, oh, sorry.
No, you were on.
Yeah, push it again. There you go.
I think it's going to be a rolling inventory, obviously. We're going to continue to add to it. But I think somewhere along the line, I think we need to pick where our success is going to lie.
Yes.
By sending out those letters to 60, whereas perhaps we've already identified 4 or 5 that have kept the place up that you've talked to coincidentally, I'd like to have a couple of successes right off the bat, would be the point that I'd be looking at. But the inventory is a great idea. Let's work on that for sure. And then we just pick out a number, a smaller number, certainly. More cost-effective, less letters that we'd be sending out. And I'm getting agreement over there. I think
Yeah.
that's the way we should
Okay.
be going.
Okay.
Let's pick 4 or 5.
Do we need a motion for that, or we just do the work right now, or? No. Okay.
Do
So-
we have any properties on there that we think have, like, we have information on and we know that they meet at least 2, or we have a strong suspicion that they meet at least 2 of the criteria?
Yes.
So through you, Mr. Chair, so I know the committee has had some changeover, and I'm not sure how many people got my report from 2023 when all these sort of changes came into effect, and we went through with the committee sort of a suggested strategy on how to prioritize the list. Back then, it was just looking at the LACAC list, and now you've added to that. So one of them was, the very first was pick off any that are currently listed, and as the chair just said, we don't have any. At the time, I think we had the Wooler Schoolhouse listed, so that was priority number 1. Properties where we might have known or anticipated risk for demolition or redevelopment was a priority number 2. Commercial or industrial properties could be priority number 3. Institutional properties, landmark and unique properties were farther down the list, or any properties that are actually city-owned. I think the institutional one was where my mind was going, was like churches and that, and I see that there are quite a few churches on here, on these lists, so they don't have a high probability of being demolished or being renovated, outside of maybe some interior renovations. So they're lower. I like the term that George used about sort of the low-hanging fruit. Get a few. I caution again, and I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but resources are very, very limited. We are going to look at trying to get your committee maybe having a line item in the budget of 2027, yes, but it hasn't come to fruition yet, so we don't know where that's going to land. Davina is currently our only person really working on heritage stuff, and she is actually tied up with our comprehensive zoning bylaw at the moment. We've just posted a background paper, so we're looking at getting feedback on that. So resources for us are very, very limited, so I caution, even if you're saying send out 60 letters and, you know, you may only get 20 back that where people are interested in it, which, side note, you don't need property owner interest in order to list them anyways. So we can go ahead without this, but we're being courteous. I understand that. I still would caution you, get those 20 letters back if people are interested. We are not going to be able to get through 20 properties in 1 year. We might be able to get through 2 or 3, maybe, maybe, depending on the amount of research. The other thing that we, somebody mentioned, I don't know if it was you, George, now, no, it was you, Kate, sorry. We do have quite a bit of background information on some of the properties that were listed in that LACAT group. Granted, those are within the former city of Trenton and not some of the great ones that you've picked out in the other townships and village of Frankfurt. But we do have that information, so it would be fairly easy to get them if they're interested and listed, and then move through the process in the next year, maybe 2 years.
Thank you for that. And thank you for bringing back some of the history of the committee as well, and some of the criteria. And I think we struggle with that, the idea of being like you say, George, the low-hanging fruit versus, for me, the biggest concern is probably the buildings at risk. And the buildings at risk are really hard to assess, like which one may get developed. I do note that the two properties on Highway 2, past the Walmart, near Highway 40. One of the properties has work happening in the back. I think beyond their property line, but it looks like maybe subdivision work or something happening behind there. So the more that subdivision work encroaches on these type of properties, the more that they're at risk of being, that's a prime corner for a gas station and stuff like that. So yes, we can, and I'm just talking out loud here, we could pick the low-hanging fruit, so maybe a commercial property on Dundas Street where there is probably no intent to develop the property, it's just going to be maintained, and that property owner would probably enjoy a 40% tax break. There may be a house or two that would be appropriate for as well, and we had that list of, I think, about 5 or 6 properties that we had previously chosen. I'm just concerned about the potential loss of property. And if we only have 1 or 2 years, if we can only do 1 or 2 or 3 per year, it may be a while before we get to those high-risk properties. So, any other comments? So we have to decide today whether we just kind of go through this list and cross off properties and reduce the list, or come back at the next meeting with a list of 5 or 6 properties, perhaps the ones that we had before, or just proceed with the 60. So maybe those are the 3 sort of choices.
Once again, I think 60 is a lot. We'll go with it's a lot. I mean, we could probably in the next couple of weeks find another 40, 50, 60 more. What's the determination on what ends up on the list? And how are we going to know what's at risk? Other than actually visually looking at a building and going, well, yeah, the roof's falling in or whatever. It's a challenge. I would like to go, my preference is to go with the idea of why don't we narrow it down to 4 or 5 right now? Because this process is just going to take forever. I mean, I'm certainly not familiar with the 2023 report, but I am the longest serving member on the committee. And I've only been here 2 years. So the challenge is I get a sense that we've done a lot, but we haven't done anything in terms of, okay, all of a sudden now, the Bank of Montreal building on Dundas Street, we've started a process on it, but we haven't. And yes, I understand finance is a big part of getting something done, but we just haven't done that part of what I would consider our business.
Okay, Kate? Kate, any additional comments?
I just want to thank you, Kelly, for giving us some insight into staffing capacity, because I think we're very passionate and definitely got overzealous in our identification or our inventory. But yeah, I mean, I would agree with George. We need to limit the list to keep it realistic and attainable.
Okay, just a reminder that the list was a list that was, people would get letters only to entertain their, or to find out their objections or not. But if we start, as Kelly mentioned, so the previous municipalities of Murray and Sydney and then Frankfurt did not have a LACAC committee, so there's no LACAC reports on those properties. So if we turn to page 23, actually, I would want to, I don't need a motion to make this decision, right? We can continue and discuss it? Yeah, okay. So if we're looking, starting at page 23, and if we go through these properties, we're going to find these 5, 6, 7, 8 that we had previously discussed. And I'm going to go by memory here, but it's not 12 Bay, not 9 Byron, 61 Byron, 71 Byron, 75 Byron, Catherine Street. I don't remember if Cresswell, 90 Cresswell was one of them. 30 to 48 Dundas, I don't think was. I think 41 Dundas, Bank of Montreal was.
Yeah.
I think that was the one of them. And maybe 69 Dundas, which has the curved arched windows. Either, I think one or both of those. No, I think it was just
I
Bank of
think it was
Montreal.
just the Bank of
Not
Montreal,
the
yeah.
Farmers Bank. Okay, so 41 Dundas. Maybe we'll keep track of that here somewhere.
And then, of course, the Canterbury Hall
Canterbury Hall.
came up a lot.
I don't think 355 Dundas Street to John Henrik's house. It's a stone house that's kind of hidden by bushes. 64 to 46 Front Street is the Sailor Block, which has now been renovated, so less at risk. Certainly 94 King was one of them, which is Canterbury Hall. Do you remember the rest, George? Because I've only got
No, I'm,
King Street, Queen Street here. I think 178 Victoria was one of them. The shingle house. No, up on the hill a little bit, with all the shingles. It's on the last page of page 31. There's another house across the street that's designated already. So page 31, 178 Victoria. Davina, you're looking at our old list. Yeah, this is the one where there's 2 per page.
The LACAC report, was that pre-amalgamation?
Yes, yep,
Okay, that's what I thought.
yeah.
So
And they're also, they're dated from about the 90s, I believe. Fairly
So
old.
if we take the ones that we already have the LACAC report on and maybe pick a couple from the other wards that we think are high risk, would that be a realistic goal?
I think so. Again, we can do whatever we want. Yeah, we can make any recommendations. Do you have any in mind that you would like from other areas?
Well, I mean, I know that, like, ones that would be easy would be.
Oh, the bank.
Old
building.
Bank
Yeah.
and Medill's.
2 Mill Street,
But
yeah.
also, they're being very well maintained, so they're not really high risk.
Right. But if we're gonna go for low hanging fruit.
Easy success.
Yeah.
Easy success, yeah, I mean, the history is a big part of the Old Bank's business plan. And Medill's, same thing, like
This is Medill's?
yes, yes, 5 to
So
9
5 to
Mill
9,
Street
5
and
to
2
9.
Mill Street. I know that, the family that owns 5 to 9 Mill Street right now, they've been there for generations. So the history of the building is important to them in general.
Okay.
If I can add a couple?
Yep.
We'll all add a couple.
Okay.
And then we can cross them all off
Yeah.
again. The house in Glen Miller,
Yes. Yes.
it seems they've spent a lot of time and effort working on it. I've gone by, there've been scaffoldings up the side, and they've managed to maintain it. I think that's probably a good candidate. And the other house that I would think, or the other property that I would think of, representative of Trenton at least, is the Gilmore house on Marmora Street. That's one that, for some reason, we seem to overlook it, and yet it's a very dominant building. And of course, the history of the lumber company and what it did for Trenton, or Quinte West.
Okay, thank you. Let me just pause because I'm thinking of 2 other properties, but I want to get that address down on Memora. That's Trenton. Should be on this list. How did I miss it? It is Trenton, so it should be.
Wild guess. One of the first houses.
Marmora, right? So this is by alphabetical order, so I should be able to find it under M. Oh, I don't, it's not in this, it's not designated, right? No, it's not designated.
No.
Do you know the address, or we have to find the address?
Wild guess.
Yeah.
Two.
We have 11 Marmora, 15 Marmora, or 18 Marmora. Or 20.
Yeah, there's several on Marmara as you go up. It's probably the
Yeah.
first one. And it has it's the one that's the top of the hill as you come up the road. Can you read, it was the description should say that it was the Gilmore Company house.
The 11 Marmora was Morduff House. James Carroll is 15 Marmora.
I think that's the west side. Like, I always try to think of, how does the numbering work for the streets here? Oh, sorry. I always wonder how the numbering works for streets. I know in Toronto, the north side of a street is the even side. Is that the same here? The east side is the even side, or the?
I don't know, I never thought about that.
Sorry. But I'm thinking that it would be the lowest number on that street, on that one side. So if you look at the number of the church, which is listed, and if the church is an odd number, then it's an even number. How's that?
Okay, I know which property you mean, but it is that one out there, yep. 7 Marmara. Yes.
7, okay, so now we know the east side is.
7 Marmora, okay.
So that was not on the original LACAC list. There's no information.
No, I don't know why, yeah.
Odd.
Yeah. Okay, so if I can summarize the list now, and then I'll add my candidates. So just going from this list I have here now, 2 Mill Street and 5 to 9 Mill Street in Frankfurt. And then, let's see here. I would like to add 17058. Let's create a list of about 10 or 12 now, and then we'll talk about it again. 17058, basically highway number 2, corner of Wooler Road and highway number 2, and 17203, highway number 2. Now, we have no history on those 2 houses, so that's going to be important.
Are the,
Oh, sorry, my apologies, I went too far. It's, sorry, 17319. The other ones are further down and less at risk. And 17337.
so one of those is on the edge of a housing development? Is this what you're suggesting?
There is housing development both to the east and now currently 17319. I'm not sure if planning staff know what's going on behind it, but to the south of that building, there's highway or heavy equipment clearing the land.
Is there any way we could get information from planning as to what the intent is?
The Hillside Meadows subdivision is coming north up to Highway 2 there.
But they've excluded the house.
Yeah, they don't own the house, no.
Okay.
All right.
So they will be surrounded by. And then, property at 2522 County Road 64, the former St. John's Anglican Church, and currently being used as a event planning space. It's for sale. So that's next to Josh's Diner, the one we talked about there.
All right.
That one is probably at risk because it is slowly deteriorating, unfortunately, and it's for sale. So I could see a demolition permit coming very quickly for that property.
Now, you said Sutha is going to do something down
No,
in Carrying Place? No?
No, not here, not here.
Not there,
No,
okay.
further north.
Yeah.
Another one that is low-hanging fruit, likely not going to be developed, is 2272 County Road 64, the Asa Weller House, one of the oldest houses in Ontario. It's a shame it's not designated. It's the one, with the subdivision around it at Young's
Yeah.
Cove.
Yeah.
So 2272 County Road 64. That's already been converted. I was wondering about the Badawa Industrial Building, even though it's already been converted. It might be a way to.
A plaque.
Well, or get some interest from the family, perhaps. The Stockdale Mill has been renovated. It's a bed and breakfast now.
Yeah.
Are we concerned about that one at all, or?
Responsible ownership, it sounds like, that are keeping the building up,
Yeah,
or the whole area, yeah.
yeah.
I think it's a great idea to, let's pick a couple of properties from each of the 4 former bits that make up Quinte West.
Okay, so 1914 Stockdale Road. What I would add with this one is that when it comes to the heritage criteria, the 9, the fact that it's an interesting building and then the fact that there's recordable history on it
Yeah.
is 2 criteria. So this is more likely, for example, to be, not to be, or more likely to pass the test than the others on Highway 2 if we don't know who the owners are. I think I know who the original owners are, but I'm not sure about the history yet of those properties. with the Montrose Inn, or former Montrose Inn.
Oh, yeah.
At 17, that would be a Sydney Township property. So that's 1725 Old Highway 2. Lots of history and great architecture, so that one would qualify for the criteria. And then we talked about 50 Johnston Road already, the former, or the named Miller House, the one you mentioned. So 940 Bonesteel Road is the Methodist Church. It's been converted to a theater now. I think it's safe for now. We have 12 Bay Street, which is the former John Gilmore House, because the Gilmores had a lot of properties. It was also named the Weaver House at one point. And I know there's been renovations to the building that are not heritage sensitive, I would say. And I think they had some stop work orders and things like that, and there's some, that's a building at risk if I was to suggest there's a problem, the property that's at risk. But not a super interesting building. And then we talked already about 41 Dundas West, which is Bank Montreal. If we wanted low-hanging fruit, 355 to 355-59, Dundas Street West, the old John Hendricks building. It was called Bayview at one point, and there was an arch with the description on it. In the old days, you could see the bay from the house. An old stone house in great shape. The photographer runs a studio out of there. That's a low-hanging fruit one, and it has a history as well that we can find. And then we talked about Canterbury Hall already. Anything else you guys want to add?
So we're up to about 10 or 12?
Yeah, I
roughly?
think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Not sure if I got this.
Is that enough for a start, or do we want to cut the list even more, or what should we be doing now?
Yeah. I think it's hard to guess, but my concern in talking to a couple candidates for office is this overall lack of knowledge on the history issues and apparent fear that if we designate a building, somehow that's a problem. The members of the community might feel that that's a problem. So initially, my thought was that we would populate a larger list and get some feedback from those potential candidates. And if we saw that a lot of people agreed that it was okay to designate their building, then we would be able to use that at council and say, you know, hey, councillor, there is some opposition, but not a lot. Lots of people want to do this. So to allay their fear, and then we could narrow the list down a little bit more, what's manageable for that year, basically. So if we're doing that to 15 properties instead of 60, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think once we get some sort of expression of interest, then there's our opportunity to move a couple of them towards that, let's get some research done and designate.
Right.
The fear being, we're going to get another one of these 5-year letters saying, and nothing has happened. If we have 60 properties on that list, there's no way staff or a researcher,
No, we would never
we'd
pursue
never
60
be
at-
able to get through 60 properties. So let's pick a few and focus on them, and let's see what we can get done. And then, of course, we'll do something with the candidates to make sure we get money dedicated to the heritage of the communities.
And I do think it's important to include a couple from each of the outer wards, because I feel like the wards outside of Trenton often get overlooked, or at least feel like they often get overlooked. And so we don't want to exclude.
So I think we've done that now by making sure that, like, there's only 2 or 3 buildings in this list that are proper Trenton. The rest in the Stockdale area or east or west, Sydney, et cetera. So I think we've got a good list going now. Okay, so do I have a motion from either of you to approve this list?
I move to approve the much shorter than 60 property list.
All right, and a seconder?
Well, I guess I'll second it.
Okay, thank you,
Can
George.
I-
All in favor?
Can you just expand on that? So
So-
that is to send the letter.
And 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 15?
15.
Okay.
15?
I move to send the letter,
Cursory to-
Expression of
Could we see that?
interest,
yeah, or what are we calling it?
confirmation of interest.
The expression of interest letter to the 15 properties that we have listed here.
Okay, and George
I'll
will
second that. Yeah.
Thank you. And then all in favor? Aye, thank you. The motion has been carried. Any new business? Can I still do new business?
I have a motion that I would like to
Okay.
propose, that the Heritage Advisory Committee sponsor potentially an all candidates meeting focusing on heritage and culture prior to the next local election.
Okay, and that would be held where?
It would be held at one of our heritage buildings, the Trenton Town Hall, 1861,
Okay, any?
55 King Street, Trenton.
Okay. Can I ask staff, is there any issues with us politically requesting something like that?
I'm just going to ask our clerk.
Okay. And maybe more discussion in the
Just to
interim.
explore the possibilities of,
I can't second that
Okay,
for reasons that I can't mention at this meeting.
Okay.
But we'll tell you about later.
okay. And can I second it?
Yeah, you're not the one making the recommendation.
Right, okay. Okay, I'm curious about, the Trent Port Society would be hosting it essentially?
the Heritage Advisory Committee would be hosting it.
The Heritage Advisory Committee would be hosting it.
We're apolitical.
Right, okay. And it would be held at the Trent Port Society
Yeah,
building?
yeah.
Are there, we don't have to provide refreshments or anything like that, or
There's
somebody
no
else is gonna-
budget for that.
Okay, so, okay, that attracts a crowd sometimes. I know with my students, if we say
No
there's pizza
barbecue.
included, pizza usually will come.
I think we need to look into the possibilities.
Yeah,
Because I really don't think that culture, heritage are not big parts of kind of the makeup of the community. And
Or they're not-
let's find out where candidates stand. I know there's going to be a chaotic group for at least Ward 1, but it would be nice to feel out support and have those kind of questions answered by members of the public.
Okay. And your recommendation is that we host this meeting. Do we know how the invites would go out? Do you have any idea how that would work? a
Our
little bit?
challenge becomes now, how do you communicate? There's no newspaper.
Yeah.
I know that, I used to see the notices, Quinte West always had a page in the paper. That doesn't happen anymore. I guess they're saving a ton of money now because they're
I think
not
there's still notices,
advertising.
but I have seen notices
There,
within a few months.
there is an email list where all candidates receive emails, so it
Yeah,
could go out that
and
way.
the city itself sends out a newsletter on a monthly basis listing the various events in the area.
Right.
But I know it's very difficult to communicate with people, and if we could possibly get the DBIA involved, and it's going to be really one of the few opportunities to find out where people stand, where candidates stand on the various issues that we feel strongly about, certainly, so.
Would you, do you have an idea in mind of the process? Would there be like a host person who's asking questions, or somebody from the press?
Well, I was
or-
thinking of you, but
Oh,
you have the time, I don't, I'm retired.
I have 4 jobs, okay.
But I mean, we could probably come up with Don, because he's not here, an impartial moderator. You set up a table with enough room for 10 candidates, a couple of mayors, or we could just have it a mayoral
Mayoral.
debate where there's only 3 of them.
Okay.
You know, so it would be a decision that we would have to make. How do we want to do this? How do we structure this?
Yeah.
A meet and greet before, a candidate debate for an hour or something like that after. I think it's an opportunity, certainly, for us. Yes,
So,
sorry, he's running the meeting.
So through you, Mr. Chair, I just asked the clerk the question, and we cannot hold that as we are a committee of the city, so we can't get involved with the debates.
Can you ask the clerk if we can use it's city-owned property, obviously, 55 King Street. Is there a problem holding what would be considered a political meeting in a city-owned facility?
hosted by Transport
It would
Society
be
instead.
or we could, maybe the business association might
Right,
host it.
okay.
But yeah, we can find somebody else to host it,
Right,
certainly.
right.
But the
So-
concern is using the building.
Alternatively, there is an all candidates night scheduled for October 1st. So, worst case scenario, we could attend and ask questions there.
And where would that be?
It's at St. Paul's Catholic Secondary School. And I can send you the times. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it's 6 to 9, but don't quote me on that.
That was going to be my suggestion, Kate, was that you just attend an all candidates meeting and ask questions related to heritage and culture. I don't know if we would necessarily have enough material for a whole meeting dedicated to that, but certainly if you're asking, sort of a question about housing and then a question about culture and a question about the economy and a question about heritage, that might stimulate and get people thinking about our committee.
Okay, thank you. So George, do you have a motion in that? I don't think that maybe
Do I have a motion?
that we attend the meeting?
Well,
Encourage
in
us
that
to-
case,
No,
I
we
would
can't do that. We
propose,
can't do that, yeah.
that I would propose, well, no, it's something we would decide ourselves.
Right, yeah.
If we want to attend. We
Yeah.
can't, or it wouldn't make a lot of sense to have a motion saying our chair has to attend the all can, oh, excuse me.
Can a chair attend and ask a question, or anyone from the committee ask a question of potential candidates? That's
You're a resident, so yes, you
as a
definitely have
resident,
the right, yeah.
perhaps as a resident, okay,
Not as a representative of the
right.
committee.
Right. Okay, so that we can do that off camera then, or on,
Yeah.
in camera
Yeah, we'll
afterwards,
make-
okay?
I
Okay.
have a quick motion. I move to change my last name. I don't know.
We can't do that here.
Just, I'm listed as Kate Sheldon, but I have recently legally changed my last name, so I am now Kate Whitfield.
Okay.
Do we need a
That's not
seconder?
motion, but it's for information, I think,
We'll
yeah.
just get the-
We don't need a seconder for
No,
that?
no.
Okay.
Okay, if there's any other business, no other business?
Next meeting?
Well, we'll adjourn and we'll discuss that after. How about that? Okay, so I think I'm supposed to say specific words about the adjournment. If there's no further business, a motion to adjourn, please. George, thank you.
Move to
Seconder?
adjourn.
I
Thank you.
second.
Okay, carried. And we are adjourned at 4:26 PM. Thank you, everybody.